So I'm going to have a go at making a timely video for once rather than waiting a week later for my damn upload schedule.
Give it up, gonna be alright.
So if there's one thing that current year has taught us, it's that anyone can identify as any gender whatever they want. It's not their role to make themselves appear in the way that they want to be addressed. Rather, it is for society to learn to address people in a very particular way. This has been a core tenet of the trans movement for the last couple of years, when we're moving away from how important it is to pass, how important it is to actually look as the gender that you identify with. And every gender, regardless of how extreme or bizarre it sounds, is valid. The only thing you need to be trans is to say that you are trans. This is how you get a wonderful world where someone like this is considered a woman. And this, and this, and this, and this, and this. You get the picture. It does not matter what kind of effort that you put in, you are that gender. That is what is being drilled into us. That is what people like myself, Blair, Miss London, Calvin Garrett, and a whole host of others are being labelled as bigots, as transphobes, as true scum, as you were. So it was very interesting to see a particular reaction to another coming out, one which is currently the big topic on YouTube, which is why I wanted to get this video out whilst it was relevant. So I'm not sure how many of my viewers have heard of Trisha Paytas. I will be honest, I am not a massive follower of hers. However, she is a YouTuber that generally seems to do trolling videos. In the past, she has come out as being black, as being gay. But in a video that she uploaded a couple of days ago, Trisha decided that actually she is not a woman. In fact, she is a trans man.
Today, I am going to be doing a video that people might think is I'm trying to be offensive or I'm setting back like a movement or something like that. But I want to talk about this because it's something that I actually have felt for a long time. I identify with men better. People always think like there's something wrong with me because I don't have like that many girlfriends. Like I love girls. Like I do love girls and I love like their sensitivity and all that stuff like that. But that's why I identify more as like a gay man, because I like guys, but I also identify as a guy, if that makes sense. The thing that kind of like stops it is I do love, which a lot of gay men do too, I do love like glam and voluptuousness. So in my head, I feel like I'm a transgender female to male, but also like a drag queen. That's kind of how I've like rationalized it in my head.
So the way that she generally phrased it was that she feels like she's more of a gay drag queen, and whilst she seems to be fairly comfortable with the way that she looks, it's more of a drag queen style. She doesn't feel that she is a woman but is a man because of various bizarre leanings that she's come to.
I don't like to be center of attention except when I want to be center of attention. So like, okay, think of like a drag queen, right? They do like their full glam and everything, but in their day-to-day, they're not. They're very like low-key, whatever. That's kind of me. But if you guys know me on this channel or my second channel or just in life, I never wear hair or makeup like in my day-to-day. I usually look crazy. Like watch my second channel, I look insane. Like as far as like girliness goes, like I just never wear makeup. Like oh my god, if I have like zits on my face, like they just like let them go. Like, and so I've always just kind of related to guys on that level, and I've always just been attracted to guys, but not straight guys. I've always been attracted to gay guys. So that's why I've like always thought I like maybe I'm a gay man. And then the final thing that kind of brings it full, I feel transgender almost, is I've always had penis envy. This sounds so crazy to say out loud, but like I've just always thought my life would be easier if I had that part. That if I asserted myself, I wouldn't be a bitch, but I would be like a man. And that's how I always think. When I talk to people, I think of myself as being assertive and I think of myself as masculine energy, but because I'm a female and I was born with female parts, people think, oh, she's a bitch.
Now, you don't need me to tell you that all of that is garbage. A lot of other YouTubers have pointed this out and the bizarre idea that she has kind of taken forward. Now, I think personally that she is trolling, that she isn't serious about anything that she's saying. And this really is just a crack for attention, because that's the vibe which I've already had from her. But I'm not interested in whether Trisha Paytas is trans or not. What I'm interested in is the weird reaction that this has got from the trans community. See, Trisha coming out as being a trans man is something which has caused controversy. In fact, she's received a bit of a backlash from it. Now, there are a lot of tweets out there condemning what Trisha has done, but the most interesting one is from Vicky Vox, who I can tell is a blue tick, who has said, report this tweet. Using gender identity as clickbait is a privileged act of violence. Pure grade A blue tick behaviour there. I'm not going to stand for it. I don't care what it's actually about. The headline and photo used cannot be serious. Trans people are murdered for quietly trying to live their life. Big nope. Now, when it comes to trans people being murdered, I'm going to have a lot more to say about that in November when the national holiday for trans people rolls around once again. But this is very interesting, isn't it? This idea that you're using gender identity as clickbait, as a way of getting attention for yourself. Gee, I wonder what other people have used this same line to get attention for themselves and have been celebrated. Maybe people such as Sam Smith, who came out as non-binary and has done absolutely nothing to make him look anything other than being a man. A feminine man, a clearly camp man, but a man. Nonetheless, this is a community that tells us that we have to believe everyone whenever they tell you that they are a particular gender. This is why we are having problems when it comes to things like trans bathroom rights, trans access to changing rooms, to all various services. Because a couple of years ago, it only used to be trans women who had gone through a bit of a transition at the very least before they started using those services. But now, anyone can walk anywhere and whip their dick out or whatever, and all of a sudden, that's perfectly fine. They are a woman. They say they are a woman. It is a woman's body. There's no such thing as being a biological woman. And yet, Trisha Paytas cannot be taken seriously by these people. These are the same groups that push every single gender is valid, including moon gender, including Jupiter gender. And again, I have come across people defending both of those as being genuine genders. So this isn't a Tumblr meme. This is a legitimate thing which people push. It doesn't matter what your expression is. It's fine to be you. Cool. I can appreciate that. But you are all hypocrites. If you are one of these people who declares that every single gender is valid, that there should be no such thing as gatekeeping, that accept all trans people are valid, and you are spurging out over Trisha Paytas coming out as a trans man, you are not following your own logic. And so how can you expect anyone else to as well? Because it seems to be that you will only accept people as being trans who are convenient for you. You don't follow a through line. All of a sudden, you are now gatekeepers. You are the ones who are saying that the likes of myself and Miss London are the problematic ones, and yet you're willing to choose who is and isn't trans. If you have made that bed that anyone can be any gender, you have to lie on it, and you have to be there with Trisha and say, yes, I recognise you as a man. Granted, you don't look like a man, and yes, you have a habit of coming out as all sorts of random things, but that is who she says she is. Now, I can misgender her, and I'm not a hypocrite, because I've always said if you want them sweet, sweet pronouns, you have to work for it. Of course, Trisha hasn't worked for it, but that's my principles. It's not your principles, is it? If you're the ones who walk around with pronoun badges. I mean, is this not the exact situation for pronoun badges? Because someone can't tell what your bloody pronouns are? Because no one who looks at Trisha Paytas would use a male pronoun. Not even you. Not even all of the so-called too cutes, the people who are all about them pronouns, about you can use whatever you want, play around with it. Gender is fun. Gender is something to play with. You're the ones who tell us that gender dysphoria isn't a real thing, or if it is, that it isn't important and that anyone can choose to be trans. You have to accept that Trisha Paytas is trans. She has said so. That's it. You have to accept that Lauren Southern is trans. You have to accept that Jessica Yaniv is trans, that Karen White is trans, that Chris Chan is trans. You have to accept all of this stuff because they are your rules. Now, I think that this shows why gatekeeping is important. There are people who are going to be watching what Trisha has said, particularly young transitioners who might get upset at the idea of someone playing around with this, making a mockery of what it means to be trans. And they would be right in feeling that. But she's not the only one to do it. Most big name trans activists nowadays push this anyone can be trans. They are the ones who are also making a mockery here. So you can't just criticize Trisha for acting in this way when there is a plethora of weird trans activists who say the exact same thing. That your biology isn't important or the way that you present isn't important. And yes, Trisha's rules on how she has come to be trans are bizarre, but it is no different from many of the too cutes, from the trans rights activists that myself and countless others come across on a daily basis telling us that we are bigoted because we don't accept. Well, funnily enough, you guys are the ones who don't accept this time. So, how does that gatekeeping feel? You absolute true scum bastards. Welcome to our world. We pointed out the ludicrousness so much, and now, all of a sudden, because it's inconvenient for you, you decide that you like that gate as well. You want to, you might fancy being a little bit of a little god. Well, tough. I find the hypocrisy in this incredible. That's what I'm really interested in here, not any of the clear clickbait that Trisha is trying to accrue for herself. As I mentioned, she has a habit of making calls for attention. I just love the meltdown that this has caused. So, thank you all for watching. I didn't really just want to save this for Trans Stupid. Hopefully there will be more in the news going on. Otherwise, the next episode of Trans Stupid will be on baby seals. But thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You can also support me on Patreon and Subscribestar. And I'll see you all next time. And a special thanks to Dan Norman, James C. George, Liz Udesu, The Poor of Rizzo, Rose Hypnol, Traname Girl, Casey Adolphson, The Leviathan, James UK, Evil Moith, and the rest of my supporters on Patreon and Subscribestar.